got that audio tripping.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
I am Jeezy.
I'm stoked today because I'm on one singular laptop today instead of two cobbled together laptops.
How are you able to do all that?
Well, Jeezy, I'm glad you asked. Black Friday. And no, I do not fuck around going to the store. Amazon, baby.
I went to the store. You know what store I went to?
It could be a multitude of things. I'm not sure.
Fucking Menards, Van.
Oh, shit, I should have known. Menards is the best. It's like if Walmart bought a hardware store but kept it a hardware store.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's pretty much right.
Well, you know what? Check this, how I know that we're old. I went out to a store on Black Friday. Do you know where I went?
Was it Home Depot?
Lowe's Hardware.
Ah, you have Lowe's. Okay.
I bought some fancy doorknobs and some OSB and some screws and some paint. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And before we got on the call, we were just talking about how our cholesterol and blood pressure's high and we have to work so hard to maintain these shitty-ass figures we have. We're dads. We're dads.
I wish that wasn't even an exaggeration.
It's 100% true, all of it.
Oh, no.
So sad. Week 13. Excluding tonight's game, which I'm actually looking forward to tonight's game a lot. Vikings and Seahawks. We are still tied.
How the fuck did that happen? We didn't pick any of the same games.
I know. 48, 23, and 1. We're tied.
I felt dumb for picking the Patriots.
As you should have. I told you it was going to happen.
You were right.
Scores. Bears 24, Lions 20, because the Lions couldn't hold on to their friggin' lead they had the whole game. Dumbasses.
I told you after they lost to the Redskins that they were going to just lose again.
Bills 26, Cowboys 15. The Bills, their first 9-3 start since 96. Good for them.
Holy shit.
Saints not to be duped twice over the Falcons 26-18.
Seems like some people are having tough times with those Falcons.
And the Saints are the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff berth as they have won the NFC South.
Dang.
I think that means the NFC South is trash. Speaking of trash NFC South teams, the Panthers lost to the Redskins.
That was an embarrassment. Another team loses an exhibition. What is the point of losing an exhibition? The points are made up and the score doesn't matter.
All right, Drew Carey. The score was 29-21. With the Redskins, it was their first road win against the Panthers since 1998.
Wow.
The Bengals, they couldn't do it. They could not pull off the perfect season. They won a game over the Jets 22-6.
Ass whooping.
Their first win in 350 days.
That is a long time. Why does Ohio's teams just have to be like that?
It's gotta be like that.
Ohio has like a disproportionate amount of football losses.
Anyways, Titans 31, Colts 17.
That was a surprise.
Derrick Henry's still beasting. The guy's ridiculous. I'm glad I have him on my fantasy team. Buccaneers 28, Jags 11. Looks like Nick Foles' time in Jacksonville might be coming to a close.
Wow.
The Eagles fucking up, losing to the Dolphins 37-31, with the Dolphins scoring their most points in a game since 2015.
I was going to say since like 1992.
I actually watched the end of that game. This one was a thriller. Ravens beat the 49ers 20-17.
That game was so fucking good.
Winning it on a Justin Tucker field goal as time expires. That's not a chip shot, but Justin Tucker's really good.
Justin Tucker drilled it. And that game, I've got a confession to make.
Are you no fool?
I'm getting tired of starting again, Van.
Somewhere new. I love you, Dave Grohl.
No, I watched that game live instead of watching the Packers game live.
Ooh.
That game was so good. That game was so good, Van.
I'm going to have to say that you did that because you knew we were going to beat the Giants.
I did know we were going to beat the Giants. I did watch the full replay of the game, the Packers game.
I think this solidifies as the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. Lamar Jackson's pretty clearly the MVP right now. I have a fun fact. As of before that game, the Ravens had only punted twice in the 3 prior games, and that's because RG3 was playing quarterback on both of those drives because they were winning by so much. Lamarkable was sitting.
Lamarkable.
That's remarkable.
It is indeed.
Brown Clowns let me down with the Steelers beating them 20-13.
I told you, watch out for them Steelers.
7-5 out of nowhere after they started out so terrible. I'm confused by that.
They just have young players there. They're growing into it, you know? They're like a teenage person over there. They're just growing into their bodies. They're going through changes.
Mom can't be buying jeans every other week, so you buy them like extra baggy, and you got to grow into them.
That's exactly right. That's what's going on over there in Pittsburgh.
Rams beating the shit out the Cardinals 34-7.
Ass whooping.
Speaking of more ass whoopings, Chiefs 40, Raiders 9.
Ass whooping.
The Raiders are actually 6-6. I'm surprised by that. Broncos 23, Chargers 20.
Because Chargers, they're going to charge. And when I say that, I mean they lose.
And I actually watched almost the whole second half of this game. Texans 28, Patriots 22. And anytime the Patriots lose, it's a good day.
The Texans looked super solid.
The Patriots, I don't like Tom Brady. I don't. But I tried to watch objectively. And there was one drive towards the end of the game they had where he threw some zingers. And I was like, okay, cool. But for the most part, he was throwing like 7 to 10 yard outs. That was his go-to. And then his running backs and receivers were getting yards. It's such bullshit.
I was watching the game with a friend, and he kept saying, why does Tom Brady throw the ball so slow? I started laughing.
He's not wrong. Anyways, like I say, anytime the Patriots lose is good, and it's even better because Alabama lost in college as well, and Minnesota lost because Wisconsin won. Only thing that would have made it better would have been if Ohio State would have lost as well, but can't have everything, I guess.
Nope.
So anyways, that was that. I have another quick tidbit here. Do you remember a couple weeks ago, like my cat got out and ran on the field in New York?
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know how Mike got that far away. He's really fast. But since then, teams named after cats are 1-14 since then.
So we've got the Panthers. They've been horrible.
Yep, they lost.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
They lost.
They've been bad.
The Lions.
The Lions. They've been bad.
And the Bengals are the only ones to fuck it up. They won this week.
Oh, what the fuck? Come on, Bengals. You better than that.
1-14 since that game that the kitty ran on the field.
That's crazy.
I'm not going to call it superstition, but, Stevie Wonder would have something to say about it.
So I just want to run down some quick highlights. This is from CBSSports.com. Pete Blackburn reports, more Mahomes magic. He's got it reported here on his page. You were talking about how weak Tom Brady's throwing is. I saw Patrick Mahomes backpedaling as fast as he could and throw a flick pass like 20 yards down the field for Travis Kelce. It looked like he threw it using only his fingers. No windup, no nothing. And it's still a laser. He's backpedaling.
Rodgers can do that too.
He can, I know. He didn't have to do it this week because we're playing the Giants. Also, you already mentioned it, but Justin Tucker, you got to say that Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the league.
I don't know if I have to say that.
All right, fine. But if you didn't,
he's good.
You'd be wrong.
He's very, very good.
Anyway, he gets the win. You know who kicked, also longtime kicker, and did not get any satisfaction?
Who's that, Jeezy?
Adam Vinatieri and the Colts. They line up trying to take the lead on a field goal. They go to kick it, and the Titans block the field goal, run it back for a touchdown. Completely flipped the script. Vinatieri, not feeling good about it.
Nope. Did you see, though, too, speaking of kickers, the Dolphins touchdown?
Oh, that was so good.
That shit was tight. It was a ridiculous formation. They had like center snapping to punter with everybody else out wide. And somehow kicker snuck his way into the end zone and punted through touchdown pass to kicker. Didn't make any sense.
I don't understand why there wasn't a quarterback in. Was it all just to be confusing?
Because you're the Dolphins, and unlike Joe Flacco and the Broncos, you have to not be scared to win.
Yeah, you're right. They were not scared to win. They did it. That formation is absurd. If you look at the defense on that play, they're like, all right, Dolphins, stop playing around now.
That's some high school football shit right there.
It really is.
But, I mean, at the time, you're 2-9. Who gives a fuck? Just do it.
One last highlight. Got to have some love for my boy Aaron Rodgers. They called it the Frozen Four. Anyone who watched the Packers game, they saw all the snow in the field, know that it was cold out there. Aaron Rodgers walks off that field, 4 touchdowns, And he spread the ball around. The last one went to Mercedes Lewis.
So, fun fact, he now ties Brett Favre having the fourth most 4-touchdown games in NFL history.
Wow. I know that's all the highlights I said I had, Van, but you know what?
What?
And now I'm cheesing my way back to you, Van.
It's a really good segue.
With a burning cheese inside. It's the Packers section, which is full of highlights.
Well, some lowlights too, actually.
But come on, man. 31-13.
You know our special teams is pretty trash again.
Yep.
But before this game started, we had a net of negative 11 yards on punt returns for the year, with a long punt return of positive 1 yard.
That's straight garbage.
Yeah, it's terrible. Also, another terrible thing, our offense is currently averaging like 8.5 yards to go on third downs.
I saw that stat during the game.
So bad.
That sucks. You know, I've got to say, I really feel like we've not been pushing the run game the way we should, especially considering that, you know, before he comes in here, LaFleur is like, oh, we're going to be a heavy run. We're going to be really doing it. I feel like we give up on the run too soon. Now, it didn't matter so much in this game because the Giants are horrible. But even in this game, I felt like, hey, man, why don't we run the ball a little more?
We tried to run the ball a lot in San Francisco because LaFleur said after that Chargers game, he said, I bailed from my game plan too soon. Got to stick to the run. So when times were tough in San Francisco, we kept trying to do the run.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. We kept getting stuffed every fucking time because San Francisco's defense is good.
Double check those stats. That's not right. That's not the game I saw. Let me just remind you how horrible our passing was. 104 yards, Van.
Oh, I know. I watched it.
What was the point of passing?
Thing.
We could have run every down and done better than that.
Well, turns out we didn't. So there's that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand why we didn't double down on the run. We were getting crushed.
28 rushes in that game for 117 yards compared to 37 passes for 119 yards.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable.
That passing was garbage. The rushing was fine.
Fine.
Anyway.
This week, 26 rushes and 33 passes, only 79 yards rushing, 243 yards passing. To our credit, we didn't have the ball much this game. I think through the first half, we had the ball for 10 minutes.
It's because our passing was so efficient.
Yeah, we didn't really have very many long, sustained drives.
We just had a lot of scoring drives, quick scoring drives.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like Allen Lazard, only 3 catches, but all 3 of them were incredible.
Yeah, that first catch, I was like, oh my gosh. Allen Lazard is emerging as a top 2.
He is our number 2 on the depth chart right now. I'll say that all day. But he's playing better than any other receiver we have right now. He is outplaying Devontae Adams. He's outplaying everyone right now. I'm super high on this kid.
Outplaying Devontae Adams?
He is. Now, I'll say I think Devontae had a pretty okay comeback game. Like, this is the best he's looked since that turf toe injury, since coming back from that.
Yeah, I keep wondering if he's still not 100% comfortable because his big thing is to beat people at the line. And I just feel like he's not creating that separation off the jump. He's also our obvious number 1. Whenever there is extra coverage to go around, it tends to slide his way.
You're absolutely right. Because I had also heard somebody say the same thing about, like, well, I haven't heard Jair Alexander's name called often on defense either. I'm like, yeah, because he's good and no one wants to throw on his side. Duh.
Yep.
Adams, draws a lot of coverage, obviously. So, like I said, I think Allen Lazard might be our best receiver right now.
I think that's probably right.
Defensively, 3 picks was encouraging. Could have been 4, actually. It almost, I think it hit Kevin King like right in the chest and he didn't catch it.
Daniel Jones was playing hot potato with the football. He was like, oh, too hot, get rid of it.
I thought he played like pretty okay until he made some pretty poor decisions like that. Like his interceptions were not like, oh man, tip ball, oops. They were like, oh fuck, what did you see there?
There was one where he overthrew a guy so hard, I thought he was literally throwing it to our player. He like hits our guy in the body. It's like 15 feet in the air when it goes past his guy.
Well, can't win them all, but you should win some. Yeah, defensively, again, like giving up a lot of big plays, but what else is new? I don't know. I think this is just what our defense is now. I think this is like it's too late in the year to try and establish a new identity. I think this is just our defense.
I just don't understand why our secondary seems so weak when I feel really comfortable with all the players we have back there.
It's the same thing as you said last year. It's like one of your favorite sayings. We are not playing up to the sum of our parts.
I agree. I mean, usually that suggests a coaching problem. It can also be a morale thing, although they seem to like each other.
Oh yeah, they have a great time. There are a lot of mental errors in terms of there were a couple of offsides on defense. Like Preston Smith early in the game had a huge offsides that gave New York a chance to actually convert a third down. That was so frustrating. But a handful of mental errors, and I'm not sure if that's what's going on in the secondary, that people just don't know their assignments, or if we just play the softest ass zone all the time.
We do that a lot.
To me, it's one of two things, because those are really talented guys. We're not getting burned. To me, it's either the coaches are putting them in a bad position or it's mental mistakes. And I have to imagine that it's a little bit of both.
No, I mean, I think that's right. But I just don't understand. I mean, even in the third quarter, the game is, 13-17?
Yeah.
It was a close game into the second half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at this game and say we win 31-13, but that is not the real story of that game. The first turnover of the second half is really what caused them to slip. And, of course, that's the way these games go. But it wasn't like we went out there and were destroying them. They were keeping up with us for a good long time, for the first half plus.
I'll say our offense still looks a little disjointed for sure. I don't know why, but we look a little disjointed on offense still. And that late touchdown to Mercedes Lewis that Rodgers called it, first off, he called out Big Dog to it. It was an incredible throw, number one.
It was.
Number two, we've both been saying this all year. Why do we not throw the ball to Mercedes Lewis more often?
I don't know. He's got great hands.
I mean, he's a great blocker, too. But he's also got great hands, and no one expects him to catch the ball. Why not?
I don't know. I would love to see him on a lot more downs. I have noticed that in the red zone, we have both tight ends in a lot. So I think there is a chance that we see more Mercedes Lewis touchdowns.
I hope so. Because we had Robert Tonyan in. He was our third tight end. I'm a pretty big fan of his, but he had a couple of, I don't know if they were holding. He had a couple penalties this game.
He had a holding on that hook block he did on Aaron Jones's touchdown.
He might have had two holdings. I was pretty disappointed with that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. You feel good about the win, obviously. Aaron Jones said it best. Great teams don't lose twice in a row. So then we didn't.
I mean, the other thing I thought was I like the Pack playing well in cold weather because that's what the playoffs is.
But did you see that bullshit the NFL did trying to superimpose the hash marks and the yardage symbols on the field?
I did. You know what that reminded me of? You remember cassette tapes, like audio cassette tapes? It looked like somebody took audio cassette tape.
Yeah, and just laid it on the field
over all the lines.
It was so distracting because we were wearing our white jerseys, so it was you could see the gray over our jerseys, and sometimes it shook a little bit with the cameras. It was very distracting. I was not a fan of it at all. It was awful.
Especially since they were doing a pretty good job of clearing the lines in real life.
Yeah, you couldn't necessarily see the yardage markers every time, but every TV timeout they were scraping every 10-yard line.
Yeah, I mean the hashes they could not see.
But who cares?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan either.
Anyways, win the turnover battle. That's encouraging. Actually, our special teams sucking. I actually just saw before we got on the call, we released Tremon Smith, the guy we brought in from Kansas City to be a return specialist.
So who's going to be back there now?
Fuck if I know, man. Anybody with the pulse, I'll go do it. I don't give a shit. I could probably get a yard.
You know who I think would be good back there?
Tremon Williams.
I was going to say Tremon Williams or Darnell Savage. Those would be my choices.
Tremon Williams used to do it regularly.
Yeah.
He had an interception too, so good for him.
That dude is ageless. Incredible.
He's 38.
He just doesn't get tired. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
It's a shame he went to the Browns for a couple of years, but I'm glad he came back. And I would totally get a Tremon Williams jersey. That's how he's a good player, and how I think he's a player that stands the test of time is because I don't buy fad jerseys, right? I would love to get a Zadarius Smith jersey, who also, by the way, had a fantastic game. Lots of pressure on Daniel Jones.
Yes, he did.
I would love to get a Zadarius Smith jersey, but he's only been with us for a year, and I cannot guarantee he'll be around for forever. So
here's what I'll say. I would say that Zadarius Smith, he should be credited. It is to his credit that we got those interceptions because that pressure he was putting on Daniel Jones cracked him. And to go back just one sec, I think Tremon Williams will be in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame.
Oh, no question. No question. And the last thing I'll say about the game, Mason Crosby nails a 47-yard field goal in the elements.
That was good.
Also gets awarded the game ball after the game is over because he actually lost his sister-in-law to cancer last week. And this team is such a family, and they all rally around him, and they gave him the game ball. I saw a big team hug. So obviously our condolences to Mason Crosby. He's one of my favorite Packers of all time. Our condolences to you, Mason Crosby, and we love you.
Yes. Couldn't say it any better.
Go, Pack, go. Good win.
Ooh, it's time for the gossip section.
Deshaun Watson, super good dude. When he got his first NFL paycheck, got himself up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch it hit his bank account.
That shit is so tight. But you know what I didn't know about the NFL? I was reading in this article. So because they get paid these game time salary things, you get paid for each game you play.
Yeah.
They have to file taxes in every city that they play in.
I knew that, yeah.
I did not know that. I thought it was more like, hey, I'm a contractor, but my home is such and such place.
Yeah, no, I knew that.
That's fucking stupid. I don't like that at all.
Why?
Because all the home players obviously already pay taxes in that state. I hope the IRS isn't listening to this. Like, I used to work technically in Illinois for an Illinois-based company, but I did majority of my work in D.C., flying back and forth. I didn't pay taxes to D.C. I paid taxes to Illinois, where my home base was.
My understanding is that you're supposed to pay taxes where the money is earned. I don't know. Again, IRS, if you're listening, feel free to reach out to us at you can send us an email.
No, don't reach out to us.
Cheezypodcast at gmail.com. You can call and text us 9802-CHEESY. If you want to give us any tax advice or tax information here.
Or tax auditing.
My understanding was that
I'm going to jail.
that you're to pay taxes in the state in which it's earned. So I guess it would behoove you to be a player in Florida because there's no state income tax.
Wow.
But how does that work then? That seems a little unfair, doesn't it?
Definitely does.
6 games tax-free every year? So, cool thing here, Deshaun Watson says, so what I do, I set my alarm at 2:01, woke up, and I seen it in the bank account. It was just like, this is crazy, man. I'm a millionaire now. And he says, I know taxes got to come out, but still, I've never seen this much money in my life.
That shit is crazy. I can't even imagine just going to bed not a millionaire, waking up millionaire.
It'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
But I mean, it's not like he went from having like, oh, I have $999,000 and then woke up, oh, look, I have $1 million.
It's like, yo, I've got like a healthy $500 in my checking account.
No, it's more like, look, I've got a fridge full of food.
Enough money for like 3 packs of ramen noodles.
Bet. I mean, honestly, I have no idea how much money he had at that time, but compared to $1 million, my understanding is he did not have anywhere approaching that.
Correct. But good for him. He's a good dude. I think he's a class act.
Me too. I'm a big fan.
Can we talk about this next one? With John Gruden's words, he yelled at Clete Blakeman, one of the refs. Maybe
we should say it with the redacted version.
There was a bad call in one of the Raiders games. He yells at ref Clete Blakeman. If you zoom in, you can see it in his mouth. He says, "Effing C sucking M effer."
Yep, that's what he said. All right.
And then the post by this guy is Ryan Field from ABC. He says, "I think John Gruden said Happy Thanksgiving."
No, he did not. And then I said, "Oh, fudge."
Except way worse.
Except I didn't say fudge. I said the granddaddy motherfucker of them all.
Anyways, moving on, a little bit of sad news here. Do you remember Terrell Pryor? He was a standout at Ohio State, bounced around the NFL for a little while. He was actually stabbed after an altercation in his apartment in Pittsburgh, and apparently it was pretty serious. He was in critical condition for a while there. He's now stable, facing charges of simple assault.
Facing charges of what?
Simple assault.
Simple meaning not complex? Basic-ass assault.
Basic-ass assault. Shyla Briston is the woman who stabbed him. She's being charged with criminal attempted homicide and aggravated assault.
Oh, shit.
So I guess maybe simple assault is like defensively assaulting versus aggravated assault. I don't know.
I have no idea.
He was critical around 4:30 in the morning that morning. So good to hear that he's in stable condition. Unfortunate to hear that this happened to him. Fun fact, he owns the NFL record for the longest touchdown run by a quarterback, 93 yards.
Wow.
And the last thing I have here, it's a little heartwarming. Miami Dolphins linebacker, Jerome Baker Jr., big old dude, right? Big linebacker, big, strong, burly guy, sitting on the bench between plays and stuff. His one concern during this game is, hey, man, where my mama at? Where's my mom? You guys see my mama? It's like one of those things that's like pretty cute, you know? You're watching it and you're like, oh, little fella, like here.
Bro, where's my mama? I can't find my mama, bro. Oh, that ain't her. Where is she at? Miami, dog. Miami. Where's my mama? I found my mama.
Over here sounding like Waterboy.
I want to go back to simple assault because this has got me slightly curious.
Oh, jeez.
This says, for example, you can be charged with simple assault in 2 situations. 1. Failed battery attempt. You attempted to cause serious physical harm to another individual. An example of this is attempting to strike someone, but ultimately not making contact with their body.
If I try to hit you and I don't, why am I getting charged?
That would be a simple assault, you basic-ass assault.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Second situation, a threatening act. You caused an individual to be in fear or apprehension that an imminent battery would occur.
On a daily basis with my coworkers, I tell them, like, listen, man, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
IRS, if you are out there, can you please report to the other, preferably federal authorities, about continuous simple assault that is happening on a daily basis in North Carolina?
Stop it. I don't like that.
An example of this threatening act is waving your fists at someone in a way that would believe that you intend to hurt them. You could also use words to deliver the threat.
Oh, damn it. I'm double fucked here.
Anyway, that's the thing. So it sounds like simple assault generally doesn't even require that you hit them.
It sounds to me like he was like, hey, I'm going to hit you. And she was like, I'm going to stab you, motherfucker. And then she did.
That's what it sounds like. Anyway, just wanted to clear that up. Now it's time to head on over to them PrimeTime Picks. Looking at Thursday, the Cowboys headed over to Chicago. What you think about that?
You know, for as bad as the Cowboys are playing right now, I mean, I heard a story that Michael Bennett was in the Cowboys locker room screaming at the team about how, you know, this isn't how we play, causing Jerry Jones to tear up. Mitch Trubisky's playing better. I have to imagine there's just more talent for the Cowboys. There's more upside. I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'm going to take them boys as well. I thought you were trying to say that the Bears are good, but the Bears squeaked out a win over the Lions, which are basically a dysfunctional cat team.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier today. After like 3 or 4 weeks in the season, we were like, man, we could have 3 NFC North teams in the playoffs. And then the Lions just shit the bed.
Yep. Well, really, it was the Bears that shit the bed more. They were the real, I mean, the Vikings, the Pack, and the Bears, and then it was like, oh yeah, the Lions could be in the hunt.
And then they weren't.
And then they weren't. So now we're looking at the Titletown game. Sunday at 1 o'clock, it is the Washington Redskins headed up to Lambeau to face those Green Bay Packers.
Obvious.
Give me the Pack. It's a scrimmage game, and unlike some of these other teams out here, the Pack does not lose scrimmage games.
I'm not going to say it's a scrimmage game. Any given week, any team can beat any other team. And so that's why I think it's a little like you have to be careful. And you have to, you know, obviously play your best. You can't just slough it off. Like you have to build up to the Bears game the week after because it's a divisional opponent. It's always tougher, which builds up to the Vikings, another divisional opponent, so it's tough, and then the Lions. I feel like we won against the Giants. We've got a chance to propel ourselves forward by beating the Redskins and then hitting our prime, hopefully, against the Vikings. So,
give me the Pack.
Yep.
Sunday night, prime time, we've got what could be a good game. The Seattle Seahawks headed to Los Angeles to face off against the Rams.
Seahawks.
I really think Russell Wilson, he had a little bit of a blip there, but I think he's bounced back. The Seahawks, I think, are just the better team.
I mean, like the Rams played a little bit better last week. Their offense looked good, but they were playing the fucking Cardinals. I mean,
Seahawks. And then next week, a week from today, we've got the New York Giants facing off against the Eagles, who just lost to the Dolphins.
As dysfunctional as the team is, I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I have to take the Eagles too. They're the better team again, but do not fuck around and lose to the Giants.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. Definitely do not do that. Okay, I've got one for you, Jeezy. This is a good one.
Lay it on me.
You're going to be really jealous. I picked it before you did. 49ers, Saints.
Ooh.
both 10-2 teams, fighting. They are fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
They are playing in New Orleans, but here's the thing. As good as the Saints are, I think the Saints are still a pass-first team, and they've got the running talent in Alvin Kamara, and they've got some things that they can draw up, bringing in Taysom Hill to do some of that weird quarterback running things.
By the way, our dumbasses got rid of him. We had him. We had Taysom Hill, and we were like, nah, man, I forget what bullshit backup quarterback we were going to keep instead. So stupid. Made me so mad.
I just think that the 49ers front four are just going to be a problem for the Saints. And if the Saints cannot be a run-first team, then the 49ers are going to do what they need to do. I don't think the Saints can win that game by just defaulting to that pass game, which is their real strength. The 49ers are going to be a problem for them.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. The Ravens are headed to Buffalo to play dem Bills. And look, the Ravens may be the best team in the NFL, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
There's no may about it. They are.
The Ravens are the best team in the NFL, but the Bills are no slouch. And you just said it, any given Sunday, they could show up and upset them. I think the matchup here is pretty good for the Bills, especially they're playing at home.
No.
I think there'll be some competition here. The Ravens have some early losses. I know they're clicking now, but any given Sunday. Who you got?
Flock.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little obvious, but...
It's like completely obvious, man. Lamar Jackson is playing too well. He just broke another NFL record like last week with another one of his 100-yard rushing performances. Like, he's playing too well. The kid's a freak right now.
I was worried earlier on the season that, having him run so much, he might get injured. But I watched that 49ers-Ravens game this week, and you know what I saw? Is that guy is just so fast that a lot of times he just gets out of bounds. He's not taking a hit every time he's running it.
Smart.
I think they're doing a good thing there. I'll be curious to see if they can really protect him, keep him there for a long time.
Yep.
Anyway, those are our primetime picks. You've been listening to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I am Jeezy.
As always, check us out everywhere. We're everywhere. Actually, I heard, because we're on iHeartRadio, that iHeartRadio, because they've been really pushing their podcast lately, they're having an awards, like a voting type thing for the best podcasts. There's different categories. Sports is a category. If you guys feel the inclination to go ahead and vote for Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy as one of the best podcasts in the world, feel free to do so.
Yeah, and you'd be right.
You'd absolutely be something. So check us out at all of our places. Call us, text us, 980-224-3399, as you already know we can do.
That's right. You heard it here. You could catch us wherever you like podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, and on the old telephone. Give us a jingle.
I mean, we don't have like rotary phones or anything, but,
But you could imagine what it'd be like if we did.
Yeah.
We don't have time for 10 of those.
Remember the sound they made?
Of course I do. We had one in our house.
My grandma had one. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Okay, love you. Bye.